O2 level. Flight deck was the O3 level. Then you went back down into Admiral's country. You're back down on O2. If you'd been here in the daytime and climbed up in the island, you would have gone up to the O4, O5, O6, and the 7. As you go descend from the hangar deck, then it's called the second deck, third deck, fourth deck. We're eventually going down to the fifth deck to see one of the engine rooms. But and then to help you find your way around on the ship, they've virtually chopped it into little sections starting up at the bow. Every 4 feet they number a frame or a rib on the ship. So the little yellow square there tells us that we're frame 163 there and 175 there, and it goes all the way back to the laundry room, which is like 253. So, you know, if you tell your buddy, hey, you know, grabbing some grub at 0700 and I'll meet you on second deck at frame 163, it's going to be right about here. Kind of find your way around. They nicknamed this whole level the mess deck because that's the vast majority of what's on down here. It was the food service, the kitchens for us landlubbers. About 4,500 people served on the Midway. Vast majority of them ate down here on the mess deck. They would stand in line and grab one of the trays, and then they would get in another line, and this is the starboard line. There's another one just like it over on the port line. And they'd get a big old tray full of grub, and then they'd wander around on the mess deck looking for a place to sit down and eat it. Mess deck was open 23 hours a day, so virtually come down your breakfast, lunch, dinner, or midnight rations, and get a plate of something. They were not really counting calories. They were wanting to get you full of fat and salt and carbs and calories, because they're going to work you pretty hard until the next time you get to sit down and put some more food on the tray. So, yeah, not a lot of calorie counting going on there. But yeah, good. I mean, you know, just bacon, eggs, and ham and toast. And, oh my God, gravy. Good stuff. Good stuff. Typical menu that you would see on board a aircraft carrier. They ate pretty well on the aircraft carrier. The only service that probably had a little nicer slice of prime rib was the submariners. But, you know, they didn't get fresh air for 6 months, so you got to keep them happy. Good news. Hey, if you weren't a fan of meatloaf, mashed potatoes, fried chicken, mac and cheese, you weren't going to see it for 3 weeks, because they had a rotating menu, and you got a different something, ribs, chicken, a pizza night, you know, just a different menu every 21 days. Bad news is, if you really love this stuff, we're going to see it for 21 days. Oh, no more biscuits and gravy and cobbler. But, yeah, they ate pretty well. Nowadays, if you go over to one of the nuclear boats, it looks a whole lot like a buffet at the casino. They have stations where you can get a taco station, you can get a pizza station. It's pretty nice. It's pretty nice now. They really pride themselves on their food service over there. Yeah, it's good. For the visitors who are tickling the 6-foot range, you're going to have to duck a couple places down here. And you're saying, well, how come they made the Navy ship so low? And it wasn't always this way, but when the Midway first launched back in 1945, there was no such thing as shipboard air conditioning. And as they retrofitted the ship in the 50s and put in the ducting and the vents and the pipes, tended to lower the ceiling down here on the mess deck a little bit. Not a big deal, because most everybody is sitting on the mess deck, you know, shoveling food down the gullet, or bent over pushing bombs, missiles, rockets around through the flight deck, or the mess deck. So they weren't all that concerned about losing the overhead space. But now that we're giving tours, I clunk my head a couple times a day. So for the people that were up in the island, you can definitely see there's a difference down here. Big, wide hatchways, large hallways, and they had tables and benches everywhere when we first opened up the ship. We pulled most of them out just so we have room for visitors to walk around and look at the ship. But the other thing that this big, wide open mess deck was good for was assembling large bombs, rockets, missiles, torpedoes, depth charges. You would bring them up from the magazine of the ship where everything's nice and safe. You bring them up in this armored elevator. It's about a foot thick. And this is as high as everything went. You couldn't bring anything out of the ship any higher than this. You would roll the bombs, missiles, torpedoes out, roll them down the hallway, the elevated gangway with their tray of gravy and mashed potatoes and cobbler. And you'd roll them to another section where you put a guidance package of some sort on them and a tail fin package, whatever your mission for the day was. Then you take them to a smaller elevator that started on this deck and went up to the flight deck, where they eventually got loaded onto an aircraft.
Yeah, were they armed at this point?
No.
Okay.
No. Never got armed until they were actually on an aircraft, and then the last thing they do is they pull the pins before they shot you off the catapult. But no, you could be bouncing around and banging off the walls. It's just a big dumb steel bomb full of gunpowder at that point. It's not real dangerous. So let's see, we're eating down here. We're pushing bombs, missiles, rockets. Tables that would fold down out of the wall.